This here is one of 5 white themed gaming PCs that I sold this holiday season for just 650 Canadian dollars using all new parts, yes, including the GPU that will crush in 1080p gaming. So without further delay, let's cue the intro and get to the video. Today's video is sponsored by me. By going to my website and buying my computers locally, you are not only able to help me in my YouTube journey, you are also getting yourself a really great deal as well as a super aesthetic gaming computer for your new setup. So if you enjoy my content, go check out the website I have linked in the description. Now let's get to the video.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the most underrated tech channel. First up is the CPU, and I went with the brand new Ryzen 5 4500 off AliExpress for just $80 each when I purchased 5 of them at the same time. Now, despite how many people out there hates this CPU because the lack of Gen 4 support and low C out cache, it is still a 6 cores and 12 threaded unlocked CPU that has a base clock of 3.6 GHz and a turbo up to 4.1 GHz. And in my opinion, it is one of the best budget 6 core CPU you could get brand new in 2023, especially when it's readily available on AliExpress brand new, and it performs neck and neck with the used Ryzen 5 3600, which are kind of overpriced all the time in my local used market. For cooling the CPU, this would be the only time I'll be comfortable enough with using just a regular AMD stock cooler to cool a modern Ryzen 5 CPU. And no matter how many YouTubers out there that tells you it's okay to use a Ryzen stock cooler with a Ryzen 5 5600, 3600, or 5500, it is honestly, from experience, only okay on the Ryzen 5 4500. Anyways, keeping up with my odd choices is the motherboard, which is the Maxim B450M M-ATX motherboard for just 69 CAD a pop from AliExpress. And as you can see, it does lack a few things, like how it only has a 4-pin CPU power layout and only 2 slots for DDR4 memory. I only picked this board because it does the job for cheap and it supports every single generation of Ryzen CPUs, but I would never recommend you to use this motherboard with anything past a Ryzen 5. Next up, for the RAM, I went with this kit of 16GB of Juhor DDR4 memory clocked at 3200 MHz for 45 Canadian rupees each from AliExpress. I only went with this kit because I know 3200 MHz is almost impossible to now run stable these days, and it was the cheapest white kit I could find at the time of purchasing all the parts. Then for the storage, I went with 5 Gen 3 drives from AliExpress for 45 CAD a pop, and all 5 are different brands unfortunately, but performance wise they're about the same. Also, at the price I'm selling these systems at, I really could have just went with a 512GB, but since it was the holiday seasons, I decided to just make a little bit less profit per build and just use a 1TB SSD. Moving on to the graphic card, I was able to snipe 5 brand new Gigabyte GTX 1660 Ti 6GB cards for just $130 a pop from a local dealer I found in Richmond. And obviously, I only got it for that price because I bought 5 of them at the same time. But anyways, they all came without a retail box, but that is only because they are OEM models that are supposed to be sold to e-cafes and places like that. As for warranty, they all have it up to sometimes in 2025, and for Gigabyte, as long as you did not open up the card, they will honor the warranty without a receipt. Next up, in order to power everything, I went with 5 of these Xiaomi 500W 80+ bronze non-modular power supply unit that I got off Amazon for just $50 per bomb. And at this wattage, it is more than enough to power a system like this in today's video. Also, this time around, to save money, I decided to not use any cable extensions for these 5 flips. Regardless, the 5 builds still turn up looking amazing. And it looked amazing because I used this Sama FZ240 M-ATX all white case with no fans from a bulk Alibaba order for just $50 a piece. For the price, it has a pretty decent cable management space in the back, and it has tons of room to work with when installing all the parts inside. Also, to make each build kind of unique, I applied 5 different cute corgi stickers to the front of each case. But back to the cases, Alibaba is now my secret meta of getting cheap cases in Canada, since everything budget is almost non-existent here at retailers. And of course, the prices only applies when bought in bulk, which is what I did. Since there are no fans inside the cases, I had to add 4 ARGB fans for an additional $30, which are also from AliExpress, except for the back ARGB fans, which are just leftovers I had in the studio from Thermalright coolers. On top of that, I also had to add an ARGB controller to each build for an additional $6, because like any other cheap motherboards from well-known brands, the Maxim B450M does not have 5V 3-pin ARGB header built in. And to add to that, I'm also including using this high-speed Wi-Fi and Bluetooth USB adapter that I got for $10 a pop from AliExpress bulk order also. And that's just so the buyers aren't confused on why they can't connect to the internet without Ethernet after purchasing the PC. With all of that being said, here's the price tally for one of these builds. And as you can see, it cost me around $515 after rounding the prices of this gaming PC with all new parts. And that is not including the Windows activation fee, since you could use it without activating Windows. And the prices I sold these PCs for this time around was just $650. But realistically, if it weren't for the holiday seasons, I would have sold these easily for $750 a pop. And now up on the screen is how much it would have costed you in BC, Canada if you were to use the cheapest new parts, and instead of putting an obviously overpriced new 6060 Ti sold by a random seller in the list, I decided to put an RTX 3050 as they perform about the same, and it shows real retailers selling them at retail prices, which coincidentally were how much retailers were selling 1660 Ti's for back a few months ago. And as you can see, the total price of it is around 850 Canadian dollars. And that's the performance of this PC that I sold for just 650 Canadian dollars in 2023 Christmas season. Leave a comment down below if you made it this far, as well as leave me a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you enjoyed today's video. With that said, check out the playlist that's up on the screen right now to watch a brand new series I'm starting called Flipping Wednesday.